Director Patty Jenkins recently gave some interview quotes about Wonder Woman 1984, the highly anticipated sequel to the first Wonder Woman that she directed, which is going to come out June 2020. It was supposed to come out, I think, this year, right? But they pushed it up to June because I think the first Wonder Woman came out in June, which turned out to be a great release date for it because that movie went on to make like 860 or 870 million. I think like 850 or 860 million dollars. And so, they want to follow up with that same formula and they pushed it up. There's rumors that one of the reasons they pushed it up, though, was to retool it and make it kind of a soft relaunch or a soft reboot of certain elements of the DCU. I don't know if I believe that, but we'll see. I mean, we'll all find out when the movie comes out next year, right? But, a big curiosity factor for that movie is why did she choose it to take place in 1984? Patty Jenkins could have chosen to put that movie in any time period. Even within the 80s, she chose 1984 specifically. So what is it about that? And in this interview, she actually said some reasons why she liked that year and that time period. She was talking to the Deadline Crew Call podcast, and here is what Patty Jenkins had to say. I think it was the pinnacle of the success in the 80s, in my opinion, because it's before the market started to get a little more struggling as the 80s went on. And it was like the top of the top. It was such an incredible time. I feel like there's something about the excess of that period of time, which is so linked up to where we are in the world right now, and that it's set there for a reason. That's all I can say. That's all she can say, probably because, if she says more, that's going to be spoilers, and she doesn't want to spoil a movie that's still a year away, that all these people are waiting for. But, I think that, and some of this was actually touched on, I have to give credit by a video I think Grace Randolph made like a while ago. But, I just want to talk a bit more about it, and give my perspective and some of the things and share again, because this quote came up just yesterday, which makes it a bit more newsworthy, this Patty Jenkins interview. But I think that, the whole wealth excess part of it is a big part, of it. One of the villains is Maxwell Lord, who's a really big DC villain and also a big Wonder Woman villain, actually. And he's like a businessman, a wealthy billionaire businessman. And I think that choosing him as the villain is going to tie into that whole wealth excess kind of angle that she's going for. He's also I think they're making him, in the comics, he was one of those people who ran a corporation that was over all kinds of different kind of businesses. One of them, I think, was media. And I think they'll play up the media angle too, because, the name of the movie is Wonder Woman 1984. And I'm sure there's going to be some parallels from the 1984 novel by George Orwell, which was about a dystopian future where propaganda being spread, I think, by the government was a big part of controlling the masses. And I wouldn't be surprised if, in the movie, Maxwell Lord will use his status as a businessman or a media person to spread, propaganda, which will tie in, I think, it'll probably have some metaphors and parallels about how propaganda is used to control people, even today. We have a lot of controversy about fake news and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Patty Jenkins is going to play with that in the movie and use Maxwell Lord to do it. And also in the comics, Maxwell Lord has mind control powers. I'm not sure if he's going to have powers in the movie, but if he does, that could play into that. Because what's mind control about? It's about controlling people's, actions, behavior. So that could be another method he has to control people in the movie. Propaganda and his own, mental powers. And, 1984 was a big year because I think that was around the time where the AIDS epidemic became really big. It was getting a lot of attention in the media. And there were a lot of things happening in the world, that the 80s kind of signaled. And, that's one of them. And I think that Wonder Woman 1984 will be kind of they'll use the movie as to be like a cultural touchstone to talk about what what was going on in the world in that period. So, there are things like the AIDS epidemic. It was also the start of, I think, the 80s was the start of a big boom in personal computing, PCs and Macs became really big. I think that was the year that famous Apple Macintosh commercial came out where that lady was running and she threw something and broke a screen. I think that came out in 1984, or was it an Olympics commercial or something? But personal computers became big, started to become big in the 80s, and personal computing, desktop computing basically changed the world. The 80s was the start of, I think the 80s started a lot of things that carry over in today. Just the way that society changed. And, a lot of things started to change in that decade. And I think that Patty Jenkins is going to try to use all of that to try to tell some really big messages and themes about the world. She's going to try to use Wonder Woman to do to make a lot of statements about metaphors in society. against the backdrop of it being a superhero movie. And I think that hopefully she sticks to landing, because I think a lot of people are expecting Wonder Woman 1984 to be a really big financial success. I think they're expecting it, since the first Wonder Woman got an 800 millions, that this one will certainly reach $1 billion. And I think that expectation is raised, especially since Captain Marvel made $1 billion. People are going to, whether you think it's fair or not, compare Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman, because they're both, you know, the first big female superhero movies of their respective franchises. Although, in my opinion, I'm biased, maybe because I'm a DC fan. I thought that Wonder Woman was a superior film to Captain Marvel, and I think that Wonder Woman 1984 will probably be superior to Captain Marvel 2 in quality, because Captain Marvel, I thought, was a very basic, average movie. It was like the most average superhero movie I think I've ever seen. Like, there was nothing to it, in my opinion. So it wouldn't be hard for Wonder Woman 1984, I think, to surpass Captain Marvel in terms of quality. Will it in terms of box office? I mean, will it meet, you know, the $1 billion mark? I mean, Captain Marvel passed $1 billion. So, you know, Wonder Woman 1984, if it passes that, you know, it'll be golden in terms of its perception by a lot of people. I mean, I think the movie will still be successful, but, you know, I think a lot of people are like, you know, if Captain Marvel made $1 billion, Wonder Woman 2 better make it. So, you know, I think that, you know, Patty Jenkins going for a lot of social commentary and quality will benefit this movie to get to that point. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see, you know, what Wonder Woman 1984 will actually be about, because I think the plot intricacies are still kind of vague. There's rumors and leaks, but I don't know if those are true or not. And you probably read some of those too. But also, you know, are they really going to use that to like soft reboot some elements of the DCEU? I don't know if I believe that either, but if that happens, it'll be wow. There are rumors, I think, that Hawkman and Hawkgirl are going to be in it. I mean, I think that if they use Wonder Woman 1984 to introduce all these different concepts and characters, I'd be down with that, because I'm a fan of more DC characters being in the DCEU. But, you know, I do hope that it doesn't become... They don't try to do so much that the movie loses its focus and isn't like on Wonder Woman anymore. Like, the main focus should be this being a Wonder Woman story, because the name of the movie is Wonder Woman 1984. It should be about her. And all this other stuff, it can be in it, but I hope they don't dilute the movie's focus, right? You know, you can definitely have people like showing up and cameoing and stuff, but, you know, it's not their movie. It's Wonder Woman's movie. So, you know, but I have faith that Patty Jenkins, well, I don't know, Patty Jenkins, you know, Warner Brothers does like to come in and tell the directors how to do stuff, but I have faith that they're not going to make the same mistakes with Wonder Woman 1984 that they've made in DC movies of the past. So, you know, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I think they can pull it together. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.